This is CBC Here and Now.
A tragedy on this high-traffic section of road through Spaniards Bay is igniting calls for safety upgrades.
To come to a place right here and basically get mowed down, to me, is unacceptable.
Well, we have to meet and we have to go over options.
I'm Terry Roberts. That story coming up.
After being stranded by WestJet, travelers will go to some pretty long lengths, including driving 3,000 kilometers in order to make it home for Christmas. I'll have their story coming up.
No. Hey. No, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
In what's believed to be the first time ever, a Hallmark movie filmed entirely in St. John's will be airing on January 1st.
To the best of my knowledge, yeah, and I keep digging to see if there's been another one, but I think this might be the first one.
We'll meet the director behind it coming up.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis. Travelers are stuck in Toronto tonight, and some are being told it might be Boxing Day before they make it home. Others have given up on the airline and are driving. Here and Now's Peter Cowan has been talking to travelers today and is live at the St. John's Airport. So Peter, what's happening there?
Well, all it takes is one canceled flight to create a lot of Christmas chaos. And that's what happened Sunday night. The passengers were told it was a mechanical issue that canceled the flight from Toronto to St. John's. And because this is Christmas and because everyone's trying to travel to get home, all the other flights have been full, which means that passengers have been told, some of them, it will be Boxing Day before WestJet is able to finally get them to here in St. John's. So Jerry Neal, that's the message him and his family have got. He's traveling with his wife and two small kids. They were traveling from Florida when they got stranded in Toronto. They've been going back and forth between the airport and the hotel room, trying to get some answers and trying to get home. And it's frustrating, especially with Christmas around the corner and two small kids.
We realized this morning, lying in bed in the hotel, that our kids are going to be Christmas morning waking up in a hotel with an airplane going over our heads every 45 seconds, shaking the room. No presents, no Santa, no Christmas tree. Stuck in Toronto. At that point, we'll be here for 7 days. We got here Sunday. They're not getting us out of here until next Sunday. It's ridiculous.
Now, not everyone is waiting around to see if they'll be able to get out. When David Bradbury got the news on Monday morning that there wouldn't be a flight for a week, he took matters into his own hands and rented a car. He's driving 3,000 kilometers from Toronto to try and get home to Conception Bay South. This afternoon, I caught up with him in Antigonish as he was headed towards the ferry, and he says the $2,500 it's costing him is worth it if he can make it home.
Well, I'm working in BC. I've been gone since May. I haven't seen my wife since September, and I have a new grandchild I haven't even met yet. And I miss my family and friends, and I want to get home for Christmas.
Now, Jerry Neal and his family got a bit of good news. WestJet has told them that half of the family, so his wife and their youngest son, will make it out on tonight's flight, but the other half are still going to be stuck until Boxing Day. And just a couple minutes ago, we did get a statement from WestJet, and they say, "We sincerely apologize to our guests who have been impacted as a result of severe winter weather impacting our operations out of Western Canada. We understand the frustration and disappointment this has caused, and our teams are working to reaccommodate guests as quickly as possible." Now, of course, that doesn't touch on the fact that this wasn't actually weather. This was mechanical reasons that this flight was canceled, but it explains why perhaps the airline hasn't been able to put on an additional flight in order to get people to St. John's before Christmas. One of the other options is Air Canada. In fact, one person told me today that their relative bought a last-minute business class seat on Air Canada because WestJet wasn't willing to book them on another airline. They're paying a lot out of pocket, but at least they're getting here before Christmas. Reporting live at the St. John's Airport, I'm Peter Cowan for Here and Now.
Well, Peter's talking about those canceled flights. I do think that we will see a lot more canceled flights in the coming days, thanks to an area of low pressure that is causing some special weather statements across most of Ontario, Quebec, and parts of the maritime provinces, and do anticipate we will see those special weather statements as well. But we'll talk about that a little later. But let's talk about the fact that it's not raining right now in and around the Avalon. At the moment, 0 degrees, so temperatures are dropping. But again, it is a nice dry evening tonight. Those winds out of the northeast around 31 kilometers per hour. And we've been seeing a lack of snow. Just take a look at this. How much snow have we seen so far this December in St. John's? 4 centimeters. We typically see about 63.4 centimeters, and the record low was in 2012. 8.7. So we do potentially have a little bit of snow in the forecast. I don't think it will be a white Christmas at this point for St. John's, but we'll talk about this area of low pressure when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. To politics now, the NDP is criticizing the province's creation of a healthcare committee on the Northeast Avalon, which will look at infrastructure needs. The party's interim leader says the new committee is focusing on the wrong problem. Jim Dinn says the construction of a new mental health and addictions hospital is already well underway, and the Premier already announced a new hospital to replace St. Clair's. Dinn says the shortage of healthcare workers should be the top priority.
Patients on the north coast of Labrador being diverted, ER closures, people unable to get into long-term care because of a lack of staff. I would have to ask the question: how will this address the human resources piece? How will it address the fact that we don't have that people are still in this province do not have primary care healthcare provider, a doctor, a nurse practitioner? We haven't addressed those issues. Where is the comprehensive human resources plan that was promised?
Now to Spaniards Bay, where a well-known senior citizen is dead and her cousin badly injured. The recent tragedy is sparking calls for safety improvements to a busy stretch of provincially owned road in the Conception Bay North town. Here and Now's Terry Roberts reports.
It's a popular spot, serving up dishes for decades. But while the servings are satisfying, one thing is in short supply: parking. Just a handful of spaces. Unusual for a business like this, but a situation that existed long before today's stringent planning rules, says the mayor.
Requirements for sufficient parking may not have been a serious consideration at that time.
So when diners arrive, they often park here at the town hall, on the other side of Route 70, and walk across the Conception Bay Highway.
And that's what 93-year-old Pearl Drover was doing on Thursday, December 15th. Pearl and her cousin were crossing right here, excited to be attending the annual Christmas dinner for the Anglican Church Women's Group.
It was dark, the road wet. Pearl and her cousin did not make it to the dinner. A vehicle traveling south towards Bay Roberts. Supper time traffic. Pearl and her cousin were struck by a passing vehicle. Pearl, a lively woman who many said would likely have lived to be 100, motionless on the road. Her shocked friends inside the restaurant watching as emergency personnel responded. Pearl's cousin, age 73, badly injured.
We were not allowed to see my mom. I saw my cousin rolling around the street, and one guy came along and pronounced my mom dead at the scene.
Some say it was only a matter of time before a tragedy like this occurred.
Close calls, people walking out between the traffic out into the street.
The restaurant is here. Its entrance a few meters from Route 70, next to the turnoff to New Harbour Road, which is a popular access point to Veterans Memorial Highway. The restaurant's parking lot fills up quickly, so overflow parks here, requiring patrons to walk across the road. And at this time of year, that's often done in darkness. And traffic has increased here even more in the past year because of these super mailboxes, a lot of them installed at the rear of the Municipal Centre. About a decade ago, the town installed more of these, but the extra lighting was not enough to save Pearl Drover, and her death was avoidable, says her son.
To come to a place right here and basically get mowed down, to me, is unacceptable.
What have you lost?
I've lost a fantastic mom. 92 years of it. 92 years of a beautiful mother.
Police say the driver was not impaired, remained at the crash scene, and that an investigation is ongoing. Derek Drover knows he'll never bring his mother back, but he wants something good to come of her death, like a crosswalk, more lighting, a reduction of the 50-kilometer speed maximum, whatever else it takes to prevent another tragedy.
There's people running back and forth this road, trying to get across, waiting, poor lighting, and it's an accident waiting to happen.
We have to meet and we have to go over options.
And the province says it's willing to talk over more safety measures. The owners of this business, meanwhile, say they're devastated and would support any measures to improve safety. Terry Roberts, CBC News, Spaniards Bay.
To municipal news now. There's a slight increase in taxes in Conception Bay South for next year. The town is announcing its budget this evening worth nearly $40 million. It includes a 0.15 increase in the residential mill rate. On a home worth $250,000, that means an extra $37 a year in property taxes. The residential and commercial sewer tax are both up by $20 a year. The CBS budget also includes a $6.9 million investment in roadwork and $1.8 million for the town's snow and ice control program. Now to the island's west coast. The food bank in Corner Brook has been extra busy this month. The number of families needing assistance are increasing as we head to Christmas. Here and Now's Troy Turner dropped by the food bank and has this story.
Boxes and boxes, rows and rows of food. It would feed a single family for months. But here at the Corner Brook Food Bank, the food will be going out as quickly as it comes in.
Without this food bank, there would be people struggling more. We would probably see more hunger on the streets. We would see people stressing more. So it's not just a big city anymore. It's a lot of our smaller communities too.
The food bank is a joint effort of the Bay of Islands Ministerial Association and the Salvation Army in Corner Brook. Christmas season is their busiest time.
With the onset of Christmas and the Christmas season, we also provide a Christmas food hamper, which is what the Salvation Army is well known for in providing those food hampers. That's where our kettle campaign comes into it, and we provide, at that time, we provide a gift card. And those gift cards are given to our families, and they go buy their own food items.
Brian Wheeler says the demand for food has increased because of the pandemic. They have always seen the more vulnerable members of the community and families with single parents. But these days, they're seeing a lot of seniors and other members of the community.
This is a new demographic for us because these people are very proud and independent people. But they're coming out of need and seeing that once they were a donor, now they are a recipient. So we see that. We also see some of the new immigrant population that have come into our community. We don't have a lot, but we have some. We have students from Grenfell that may come through that are international students that are availing of the food bank there, but may also need to avail of our food bank here. So it's a huge spectrum of our community and is representative of our community.
During a regular month, they are feeding 200 families, but that number climbs over Christmas.
The changes that we're seeing is the inflation. It's the higher food prices, it's higher rental prices, and all of these higher demands on their limited resources. They're realizing that we just don't have enough money at the end of the month to pay for all their groceries.
It's an especially busy time at the Bay of Islands Food Bank, and need is up. Wheeler says in this area alone there are more than 600 families looking for food assistance and 350 families or so looking for assistance with toys. Troy Turner, CBC News, Corner Brook.
And the City of St. John says there's a scheduled blast at Robin Hood Bay tomorrow at 8 a.m. It was originally planned for Sunday, but was rescheduled due to weather. The blast is happening on the east end of the landfill in the quarry area. Crews are blasting to create rock as a part of a contract awarded to Capital Ready Mix. People are asked to avoid the area at the time. Marshals will be stationed along the East Coast Trail to inform hikers who may be nearby. And police have made an arrest in connection with a violent assault in St. John's. A 40-year-old man is facing multiple assault charges, including assault with a weapon. This after a 20-year-old was taken to hospital Sunday following a violent assault in the Linden Place area. The man is in stable condition. Meanwhile, the 40-year-old was arrested at his home yesterday. The RNC is still investigating. And an investigation into the Muskrat Falls hydroelectricity project is still underway. That's according to the RNC. The Liberal government officials asked police to review the 2020 public inquiry report to see if criminal charges are warranted against anyone involved overseeing the project. Saturday marked 10 years since the then PC government sanctioned the $7.4 billion project. The price tag has since ballooned to $13.4 billion, and Muskrat Falls is still plagued with problems. A St. John's-based filmmaker has made what's believed to be the first ever Hallmark movie here in the province. It's called A Dog Lover's Guide to Dating. It'll hit screens on January 1st. And thanks to plenty of talent here on the ground, the director staffed most of her film with locals. Here and Now's self-proclaimed Hallmark movie lover, Jeremy Eaton, has that story.
To the best of my knowledge, yeah, and I keep digging to see if there's been another one, but I think this might be the first one.
Filmmaker Tara-Lee Gerhardt has been in the industry for more than 2 decades. She moved to St. John's in the summer of 2021 and found work, but she wanted to focus on her own thing.
So we had to find space, launch our camera house, launch our production companies, and then prepare. And so we started shooting our first movie in June.
Following that up with this.
The Dog Lover's Guide to Dating.
There's this girl who's a dog trainer and had a very much broken heart and a bad personal relationship with men and didn't trust men, but she did trust her dogs. So lo and behold, she meets, her new love of her life, and through trying to train a dog, which is actually his girlfriend's dog, she ends up falling in love with him, and they find that they're a better match than anybody else. And
Shot in St. John's, this movie will air on the Hallmark Channel and W Network on January 1st.
Corey Seaver, who plays the male lead, he is so funny. And a lot of those beats and funny moments are just him ad-libbing and running away with the character, literally running away with the dogs and tripping over everything. And he's very, very funny, very physical actor. And he's very known by Hallmark as well. He's a Hallmark sweetheart, shall we say. And him and his wife actually have been writing a Hallmark movie for Newfoundland.
Hallmark movie magic happens quick. 3 weeks to prep, 2 weeks to shoot it all, and about a month to edit it.
It takes a full army to do what we do. Highly creative, very talented people that pull this together. And it's always nice to see it come to life on screen. And it's nice to watch the crew, especially, and see how happy they are and how proud they are of the work that they've done.
Gerhardt says the crew learns a lot on set, but her small and mighty crew still managed to make 4 feature-length films this year. They'll shoot through the winter in 2023 as well.
Well, we're going to be doing 8 to 10 movies next year, hopefully 10. But 10 is a lot. I've done it before. It's a lot. Some of them have to overlap. 8 is comfortable. Everybody gets a week or 2 off throughout the year if you do 8. Not to say it's not challenging. They're very, very challenging movies for sure.
And she'll kick off 2023 filming back-to-back Hallmark Christmas movies, which audiences can expect to see in about a year's time. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, St. John's.
Sit!
Hi, my name is Kevin Zhao. I'm from China. This is my wife.
Hi, my name's Alicia.
We're sharing your stories of kindness this week that were collected at CBC's Feed an Owl Day at the Avalon Mall last Friday. Hear this sweet tale after the break.
I know you've all been asking me for some sunshine. It is in the forecast. It might just take a day or 2 to get here. I'll get into the full details coming up.
I'm Chelsea Jacobs, and I'm an editor here at CBC. Normally, you don't see who works behind the scenes, like Mark Strong. He's a broadcast tech.
Yeah, that's it, Bernard. That sounds great. Oh, hey, Catherine.
What have you got broke now?
Well, yeah, I'm Andy.
Oh, hey, I'm Curtis. We got a great team here at CBC. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. Hit those lights for me, Gary. So on behalf of all the technicians here at the station, we'd like to wish you a happy holidays. Take it away, Chelsea.
That greeting from our technical staff is so good. It's so funny.
I've watched it many times and I still watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
So good.
So good. As for the weather though, might get some sun ahead of that messy weather coming our way Christmas time.
Yeah, it's Christmas. Why do we have to see a storm? No, yeah, we are looking at the potential for some sun. It's good. Bridge of high pressure is going to move in, but today I'll take the lack of rain. That's for sure, and lack of fog for sure. Let's take a look at the temperatures today. They were still well above zero, 3 degrees in St. John's, 2 in Terra Nova. That temperature hovering around the 0 degree mark in Lassie, and then up across Labrador as well. Still these very mild temperatures, 0 degrees in Cartwright, -1 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, and -5 in Lab City today. So here's the setup at the moment. We do have a ridge of high pressure up across the Big Land and an area of low pressure offshore at the moment. That means we're still in that onshore flow, but the majority of the precipitation has ended now across the island. We're still looking at some flurry activity and staying a little bit unsettled as we head through the overnight tonight, but generally the weather is improving. Temperatures are dropping as well, about 0 degrees right now in St. John's. Wind chill feeling more like -7, and those wind chills really into the minus single digits across the board, up across Labrador as well, except in Lab City, where it's feeling more like -11 at the moment. So the winds are still quite breezy out there, 30 kilometers per hour right now in St. John's, 54 sustained in Bonavista and Gander at 41 kilometers per hour. The winds are starting to ease though along the west coast, same thing up across Labrador, but you factor in those wind gusts, still seeing between 50 and 60 kilometers per hour. And that will generally be the story again tonight. The winds will ease, I should say, along the west coast. As we get into tomorrow morning though, winds will pick right back up again, at least for eastern Newfoundland. Still looking at those winds gusting between 50 and 60 kilometers per hour for a good chunk of the afternoon. And then into Thursday, more areas seeing less wind, but we're going to hang on to those winds again across the Avalon, still gusting around 40 or even 50 kilometers per hour through the day on Thursday. Just taking a look at the current satellite and radar, few flurries showing up along the west coast, still in that onshore flow. And this will generally be the story tonight. Future Tracker picking up on that as well. Nothing in the way of accumulation for the most part, but you're still looking at that chance of flurries. Same thing along coastal areas of Labrador. Maybe some breaks in the cloud cover as we get towards the morning hours. So it actually might be a fairly nice morning, especially along the west coast and along southern areas of the island as we get into the 5-6 o'clock in the morning rain time frame. As far as tonight's temperatures go, the coldest we've seen in a little while, around 0 degrees for St. John's overnight tonight. Winds again staying breezy out of the northwest between 40 to 60 kilometers per hour, but those temperatures for the rest of the island sitting somewhere between -1 and -5. And then up across Labrador staying relatively mild again tonight, -4 to -7. Coolest temperatures will be in Lab City as you hover around -12. Now taking a look at the future tracker for tomorrow, the rain done. Cooler temperatures means we're going to see the chance of some flurries sticking around. But the best chance of seeing the sunshine will be on the west coast and south coast at this point. Maybe a few peaks in and around the northeast coast, and potentially the Avalon as well. They won't, if it does happen, it won't be long-lived, but we're still looking at the chance. So I'll take that at this point. Up across Labrador, you're looking at some cloudy skies as well. Maybe a few peaks of sun, but that snow will move in for Lab City as we head into the evening hours on Wednesday rather. As far as tomorrow's temperatures go, between 1 and 2 degrees, so above zero, but again, that chance of a few flurries in the mix will be potentially through central, but definitely along the south coast. -1 in Harbour Breton tomorrow, and then around 0 or -2 for parts of central, cooler as you head towards the coast. West coast, relatively light winds tomorrow, between 5 and 15 kilometers per hour, but you're looking at your temperature between 0 and -1. And then same thing for the northern peninsula and southeastern Labrador. So we're going to continue to see these mild temperatures. Now, they're starting to drop across the western portion of Labrador as far as those temperatures go. They will even more so as we head into the weekend for a little while, and then another warm up as this next system moves in, which is likely going to bring a wintry mix for a good chunk of the island and some snow to parts of Labrador for Christmas Eve. We'll get into the details coming up.
Hi, my name is Kevin Zhao. I'm from China. This is my wife.
Hi, my name's Alicia.
And this is our cute baby, Millie Zhao. So I want to start the story at the end of 2019. At that time, I come back from China. The pandemic started, and when I finished the quarantine, so I provide the free quarantine space. And my wife actually applied the quarantine space.
Yeah, I was one of it.
Yes, so we made together. We met together from the quarantine, and we have a same vision about our future. About the have a lot of things in common. Yeah. So and then I asked for go out for dinner, and then we get together. We married. We get together for 2 years, and we married this year, and we had a baby June 20th, and she's so cute. So healthy, so happy, and bring the joyness to us.
To our family, yeah.
To our family.
It's very empowering to just know that you have the opportunity to take the lead that you need to adjust to being a parent with a new infant at home.
She's the first new mom on Mount Pearl City Council and has inspired a new parental leave policy. More with Councillor Chelsea Lane and baby Max ahead.
This year, we're connecting more, we're sharing more, and we're helping more. This season, whatever kind of season you make it, make the season kind.
Welcome back to Here and Now. When Mount Pearl passed its 2023 budget, it wasn't just about the numbers. The city also passed a motion extending parental leave benefits to elected officials. And that's good news for Councillor Chelsea Lane, who had a baby earlier this month. Lane hasn't missed a meeting throughout her pregnancy, and even after delivering her baby, Max, she was at the following meeting just days later. I spoke with Chelsea Lane in the council chambers.
So I'm actually the first female to be pregnant and have a baby here in council for City of Mount Pearl. So when my colleagues found out that I was pregnant, we were discussing like maternity leave, and we realized that there really wasn't a policy here in the City of Mount Pearl to accommodate that. And it's just due to the fact of being the first one, you know, oftentimes things can get overlooked. So, you know, my colleagues in their committee, they went and created this policy, and that allows new parents to take maternity leave while in council.
What does that mean to you?
So that means so much to me, because before that, you would actually have to seek permission of your council colleagues to take any extended period of leave. So that, of course, is a challenge as a new parent to be able to make the time to attend everything that you want to. So now, you know, it's automatically, if you're a new parent, you automatically can have up to 3 months leave or an extended period. You don't need to have any approval, which, you know, of course wouldn't have been an issue anyways. But it's very empowering to just know that you have the opportunity to take the lead that you need to adjust to being a parent with a new infant at home.
So tell me how this is going to affect your life now. What is it going to mean for you and baby Max that you're able to take the time that you need?
Well, for me personally, I do still plan on attending the meetings, but it's great to know that if a meeting comes up and for any reason I'm not able to attend, then that will be automatically excused. But being in council and being in the meetings just means so much to me that I do plan to attend, and baby Max will likely attend a lot of the meetings with me, as he already has yesterday, actually.
Excellent. And what does this mean, do you think, for anybody who may consider running for politics here in the city of Mount Pearl in the future?
Well, I certainly think that it encourages inclusivity, because as a young person, there's definitely barriers to certain jobs in public office. Knowing that maternity leave wasn't an option, that would definitely prevent some people from having the opportunity to run. And now that it's public information is out there with this policy that you can be in council and you can still be a new parent and take the time that you need, I think that's very empowering, and I think it's going to encourage a lot of young people to consider running for public office.
Councillor Lane, tell me a little bit about how being a new mom and having a baby affects some of the ways that you make decisions when you're here with your council colleagues, discussing what you should do and what kind of policies you should make here in the city.
Well, I think that I definitely bring something different to the table in that I look at things always with a family lens. What can we do to encourage new families to move to the city? What can we do to make things fun, experiences for youth, and make things easier for families? And I keep doing that, and I have been enjoying it so far. I already have a 2-year-old, so of course that's already been in mind. But now with the second addition here to the family, I certainly plan to keep encouraging young families to move to the city and offering as many programs and services as we can to accommodate them.
And what kind of message do you have to any other municipalities in the province who maybe don't have a policy like this or are considering one?
I think that they should certainly take a look at the policies that currently exist and see if there is any barriers that prevent anybody from running as an elected official. And they should certainly, in today's day and age, have a policy that allows maternity leave, parental leave, because that will encourage people to run who prior to wouldn't have had the opportunity. So I think that it really is opening up a lot of doors.
And where is the city of Mount Pearl with respect to other municipalities by implementing this sort of policy?
Well, I know there is some municipalities who already have this in place, such as St. John's, but many municipalities have never been faced with having a young parent on council. So because I guess they've never been faced with the issue or the barrier, they've never had to address it. But I think that the more municipalities that adopt motions to allow for parental and maternity leave, it'll encourage younger people to run for public office. So I really encourage every municipality to look at their current policies that are in place and see what they can offer.
This is not just a policy that applies to women, it applies to men, both parents. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so that encourages true inclusivity because any young parent can benefit from taking leave to spend time with their child, and that's not just for females. Like my husband is actually going to be taking paternity leave as well. So it's important for both parents to get to bond with the child, and that's why it's important to not just offer the maternity leave but parental leave, which is inclusive to any gender.
Halifax is gearing up for hundreds of sports fans who are flocking to town for the World Junior Hockey Tournament. We'll have more on that story coming up.
Hi, I'm Jen White from CBC Newfoundland and Labrador.
And I'm Neil Hyde, and this is Winnie.
Say hi, Winnie. Wishing you light and love this holiday season. Merry Christmas.
All the best. Yay!
Hundreds of people are now arriving in Halifax for the World Junior Hockey Tournament. Teams from 10 countries will be competing at the event, which is being co-hosted by Halifax and Moncton, New Brunswick. The competition, which starts on Boxing Day, is expected to be a big win for local businesses. CBC's Gareth Hampshire has more.
After months of planning, Scotiabank Centre has been putting the finishing touches to the ice over the past few days. There are new competition logos and branding all around the arena for this international event.
It's all ready. We're all ready to go.
A new platform has been built for the television broadcasts, and extra staff have been hired to help manage a packed schedule that could see Halifax host as many as 23 games in just over 2 weeks.
On most days, we'll be running 2 games a day.
About 70 staff would work a regular Mooseheads game, but around 150 will be working for the World Juniors.
They're early mornings, certainly, and some really late nights, but it comes with a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, and something that our team's really proud to be doing.
A sold-out building's expected throughout the event.
Ticket sales have been very strong from the day that we released them, and we're pleased that we're just at about 90% now of capacity between both venues combined. And there are still some tickets available, but they are single game tickets at this stage.
Those who cannot get tickets are encouraged to watch on the big screens at Rogers Square, where a fan fest will be happening. Local businesses are hoping all those people downtown will be spending money before and after the games. Based on previous tournaments, it's estimated the competition could generate as much as $25 million for Halifax's economy.
You can put almost 11,000 people in the Scotiabank Centre, so there will be people who will likely dine out before or after the hotels. We know there's almost 3,000 just for players and folks that are working at the event, and then of course attendees.
The tournament's going ahead following some uncertainty earlier this year because of the scandal over how Hockey Canada dealt with multiple allegations of sexual abuse. Its entire board stepped down, and since then the Nova Scotia government has made it clear there is no tolerance for harassment or abuse at this event. It has mandated training on sexual and gender-based violence for all Team Canada players and staff. Hockey Canada says it also has an off-ice supervision plan as part of new team rules.
This place is going to be buzzing tonight when pre-tournament action starts in a game between Czechia and Latvia, and a sold-out crowd is expected when Canada plays in a pre-tournament matchup against Finland on Friday. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Halifax.
Now turning to international news, Russian President Vladimir Putin appears to be admitting that the war in Ukraine is not going his way. Today, he said the situation in 4 Russian-held areas of Ukraine is extremely difficult. He called on his security operatives to significantly improve their work to ensure the safety of people living in the annexed regions. At the same time, Putin praised his forces in Ukraine for their courage and, quote, self-denial. And the comments came as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited with troops on the front line of a battle. With artillery fire booming in the background, Zelensky handed out medals and praised soldiers for their courage and resilience and strength. The area has been under continuous Russian attack since the invasion in February. Moscow continues to target civilian infrastructure, the power grid, as well as winter weather deepens in the region. Hong Kong is experiencing its biggest wave of immigration in decades. Residents are fleeing as political freedoms and civil rights are disappearing. Many are coming to Canada, and the federal government is under pressure to make it easier for them to stay. The CBC's Lisa Zing has more.
Small comforts of home in a time of big change there.
The Hong Kong that we grew up in, that we used to know, it's not the same anymore.
That's why this woman, who wants her identity hidden out of fear for her family's safety, left Hong Kong last year. one of tens of thousands to do so since 2019, the city's largest exodus perhaps ever.
When we're seeing clips like police brutality or just, protesters being beat up, it's just like, it's very hopeless that you cannot actually do something about it.
Many former residents say they left Hong Kong because of China's tightening grip on the semi-autonomous region, including Daviv Lai.
I think nowadays in Hong Kong is not a better place to let my kids grow up.
When the former British colony reverted back to Chinese rule in 1997, China promised Hong Kong autonomy. But following massive anti-government demonstrations in 2019, Beijing passed a sweeping law, making it easier to prosecute protesters. The final straw for many, strict COVID lockdowns as other countries relaxed regulations.
People are rushing to get out, especially those with young kids. They are trying to, ensure that their kids will have a education in a liberal democratic society.
Hong Kong says 110,000 residents left in the first half of 2022 alone. Many have come to Canada through special federal programs. This immigration lawyer says his clients feel those programs are too strict, eligible to only those who have graduated from a post-secondary institution in the last 5 years.
Yes, there is an argument to expanding these programs to catch more of those mid-career professionals and other highly qualified people.
Especially because many of them don't plan to go home anytime soon.
You don't see a future there?
Yes, that is exactly the words that I would use to describe. So.
Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada tells CBC News Hong Kong residents can apply to other immigration programs or seek asylum if they believe they're at risk of persecution. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
This season, we want to be together, and magically, we are.
That magic, that energy, what we're doing is actually making a difference.
You have the right to eat. You have the right to food.
We feel a real responsibility. We've been in this community for a long, long time.
This season, whatever kind of season you make it, make the season kind.
Welcome back from Clark Griswold in Christmas Vacation to Buddy Hall in Deck the Halls. There always seems to be someone who's ready to go way over the top when it comes to holiday decorating. And this year it appears to be a property development company north of Toronto. This technological marvel stands more than 8 stories tall and weighs more than 18 metric tons. The laser-cut steel frame of this Yuletide wonder carries more than 70,000 computer-controlled lights, and it's billed as Canada's largest walk-through LED Christmas tree. It sits outside a major transit hub in Vaughan, Ontario, and is secured by piles that go 5 meters down into the ground. And if you're in the area, the tree is on display until next month. And in the weather, a winter storm has wreaked havoc along the south coast of British Columbia.
Yeah, an area that typically doesn't see a lot of snow has received 30 plus centimeters, and that's caused travel chaos on the roads and in the skies.
Oh my God, good thing we pulled off.
Many flights have been delayed or canceled at Vancouver's International Airport. No planes were arriving or departing this morning, and several crowded planes were left sitting on the tarmac for hours.
Yeah, and this comes just 2 days before the airport's busiest day of the year. Most of the province is under a snowfall warning, Arctic outflow, or a winter storm warning. Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of that snow over the last couple of, actually most of December, really. I showed you a little bit earlier. Only 4 centimeters of snow in St. John's, even in Corner Brook in the west coast, not a whole lot of snow. But we are looking at some flurries as we head through Wednesday and maybe even into Thursday as well. But we've been talking about the lack of sunshine, and I do think that Thursday is the day that we'll see some sunshine into the afternoon, which will make us all fairly happy. But we're still looking at the potential for some onshore flurries through the day on Thursday for the west coast. But overall, we're looking at a ridge of high pressure moving in. So temperatures are going to be on the cool side, cooler than we have been seeing anyway. Around seasonal, about -1 or -2 across the island. Temperatures across Labrador into the minus single digits for the most part, except about -10 in Lab City through the day. Now, as we head into Friday, also looking at a pretty nice day as far as sunshine goes up across the big land. Good chance of some sunshine as well, west coast through parts of central, but still hanging on to the chance of a few flurries at least. Some cloud cover and a few flurries for central and the eastern portion of the island through the day as our temperatures hover around the 0 degree mark. Now, turning our attention to the busiest travel weekend of the year. On Thursday, we are watching an area of low pressure move through Ontario first. It's going to bring rain, windy conditions, and then potentially some blizzard conditions in behind that area of low pressure on Friday that will travel across Quebec into the maritime provinces, where this will mainly be a rain and wind event. Some may see some snow to start, and then eventually, as we head into Christmas Eve, we're looking at that heading towards Newfoundland and Labrador. Again, wintry mix to start, likely a storm up across Labrador, but wintry mix and then over to rain as we head through the day on Saturday, and then maybe some snow again on Sunday for the west coast. Long range forecast looking quite mild, especially as we head into Christmas Day here in the metro area. 5 degrees with the chance of some showers, maybe a few peaks of sun as well, but it does look a bit more wintry on the central and the west coast as temperatures hover between 0 and 2 degrees. For eastern Labrador, you're looking at windy conditions for your Christmas Eve, again with some snow possible. The most snow should fall in western Labrador. We could be talking about 20 plus centimeters. So definitely going to be a white Christmas for you, even though you got lots of snow on the ground. And then Sunday, just a few flurries for your Christmas day. Now, speaking of wintry looks. This is some frosty trees in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Thank you to Cynthia for that shot. If you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, send them to my Facebook page, Twitter, or email them to nophotos@cbc.ca.
How festive and nice is that? It's beautiful. And we're going to leave you tonight with the gift of song.
Yeah, at our Feed and L Day on Friday, we had another choir perform some Christmas songs for the audience.
Here's a look at Leary's Brook Junior High School, their choir, and their music teacher, Paul Ryan, on guitar. Good night.
Good night.
Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power. We were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Bethlehem in Israel, this blessed babe was born, and laid within a manger upon this blessed morn. Who reached his mother there, we did nothing take in scorn. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. When said the angel, let nothing you will frown. This day is born a Savior, for a virgin born, to free all those who trust in Him from Satan's power and might. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. God rest ye merry gentlemen, and